If I were to call one of you on the phone right now and say, I've just built the financial model, please take that work, do a variance analysis on it, and go ahead and build some slides for the deck. You would first say, who the hell are you, right? And then you wouldn't know what I've done and if you can do that work on top of it, right? That's a person-to-person exchange, and that happens in many companies. Somebody does work, hands off work to somebody else. That same sort of work is happening today and will only continue to grow in the future, done by autonomous agents, right? There are bots, there's robotic process automation. Some of us engage with bots on Facebook and we don't even realize it, right? The world of being able to train something to do work that a person is doing today and to have it continually get smarter and more capable to do the feature sets and keep training, the world of that is growing. Some argue it's between 5 and 10 billion today, expected to multiply by maybe 10x within the next 5 to 6 years. As you think about that world, Talla is one of the companies that operates in that world. We're a Series A venture-backed business out of Boston. We just closed $12 million in a Series A, traditional operating company that built a bot agent that sits on top of internal knowledge at companies. So we're building this thing and we're connected to the whole ecosystem of other people developing solutions and bots, and we're talking to each other incredibly frustrated by the lack of horizontal protocols. So you build something for one ecosystem, then you build the same thing for another ecosystem. Everyone has their rule sets for development of autonomous agents. That is not how an ecosystem can really scale. How could this thing be accelerated, right? You need certain protocols and standards. So whereas some other folks today, I think, are talking about some really interesting things with very broad use cases and application sets, ours is actually very narrow, and that's one of the most interesting things, is that we are specifically providing a needed protocol that an ecosystem of existing companies are saying, we wish we had a standard so that we could build faster, right? Have more impact. And so bot chain is an enabler of the future world of interconnected bots, where in that example I gave earlier, if you had bot chain, right, I could be a bot that just did this work product and told you to do something. I'm registered with bot chain, and by being registered with bot chain, I now have an identity. Identity is critical in any community, right? Even in a tribe, people have a job, they have a role, and everybody has that designed purpose. We need that thing in a future world of autonomous agents. And so we are providing the ability for a developer to come to botchain and say, I've built this thing, this is what it does, and this is where it's installed. Once you have that, you now allow someone else to come and validate that thing's identity. That is very basic, right? It's maybe not the most exciting thing you've heard about today or will hear about this week, but it is a true utility that enables an entire critical world of future work, right? That is already being asked for by companies like Talla. So we have early partners like, and we will announce some of these, so I guess I should be cautious in this venue to state some of those names, but we have large auditing firms and third parties. We have bot developers and AI companies. We also have major software and communication platforms that all appreciate nobody wants one single player to develop a solution, but we all want a standard protocol. HTTPS was developed over time, but once it reached a critical mass, everyone said, this is what we will use. As we have early partners stating, we need some standardization of protocol, botchain will achieve its critical mass. We've already built a platform, right? The platform is in prototype. We can do identity of bots today, right, and validation of bots. We are doing a token raise process to build the platform, not for necessarily commercial viability in the future. This is a utility that enables a world of future bots. So we've gone through the SAFT process in the US. We've raised several $1 million through that investment channel. We just closed our first tranche. We're moving into our second tranche. There's a timing in between those things. But once you have identity and you can now validate something, and you start thinking about a world where these bots, these autonomous things are making decisions with each other, you now add a complexity layer of what exactly was done when and why, right? And so you could still have different platforms where these things are living, but when they're now doing work together and something was completed by those things, you can hash that event to blockchain. So we've now incorporated in botchain two things that an entire ecosystem wants: an immutable hashing of what two independent agents have done together, and identity. So we're really like taking native functionality of blockchain and solving for our specific ecosystem. We have a team of former venture-backed successful entrepreneurs. We've had several exits amongst our team. We're enterprise operators. Talla, at some point, will be a participant in this ecosystem just like the rest of the folks are. So this is not something that we're building for any independent commercial value. Any questions?
How are you possibly going to store any of that data on blockchain and its current speed and cost? I understand validation, but I don't understand anything else.
Yeah, great question. I think that's a lot of the challenges that all of us that are trying to solve blockchain with right now is the idea of enterprise and centralized versus decentralized. So we're taking the initial opinion, and our community of partners will help us to govern and validate this. So through some sort of a distributed node network, we can have the events that bots are taking or an enterprise autonomous agent is taking, that critical data can stay inside of protected walls. Right? As you think about consumer data or transactional, they might not want that pushed, but what you can push is a public hash of that record, right? So now I can validate the integrity of the underlying record. That's where you have some certain firms interested in using that. That's also less heavy to push on the network. Thanks.